Hello everyone, Nyonstar here, and as a kid I had a lot of crushes. I've already talked about my school crushes, but this time I'm going to be talking about my fictional and celebrity crushes. My first crush was Lady Gaga when I was around 3 years old. I didn't really understand it was a crush until 11 years later, because of course it was just adoration. Girls don't get crushes on girls. But can you blame me? 3-year-old Mel heard Poker Face and it changed her forever. My first crush on a guy was... Okay, you guys have to promise me you won't make fun of me for this. My first guy crush, when I was around 5 years old, was SpongeBob. You promised! I guess someone nice with a stable job isn't too bad for a first crush. Yeah, I don't even understand this one myself. Guess toddler me had a type. And for my first fictional girl crush, we have Hatsune Miku. And what's that? A plug for a previous video you shouldn't have! Anyway, my sister introduced me to Vocaloid when I was around 7 or 8, and I fell in love. Again, I had a type. Also when I was around 7, I watched Invader Zim for the first time, and I got a crush on Zim. Somehow. I don't know what's wrong with me. I even got a guy I had a crush on at school to play as Zim, and I would be Zim's girlfriend. This all culminated in a wedding where I had my first kiss. I've lived a ridiculous life. Next on the chopping block is Krona from Soul Eater. I started reading Soul Eater when I was in elementary school, maybe around 9 years old. Krona quickly became my favorite character, and I started crushing on them. To be honest, I don't know what I was seeing. I also had a crush on their mom, Medusa, even though she's literally the worst. Then I started reading Full Metal Alchemist in the 5th grade, and I had a massive crush on Envy. Dude literally shot a kid in the face, and I was like, God, I wish that were me. What is it with me and evil characters? Next up is Bill Cipher. I'm so sorry, this list is making me look bad. I started watching Gravity Falls when I was 10, after sock opera but before Seuss and the Real Girl. And this was prime time for Tumblr sexy man human Bill art. You can't judge me for being smitten when people were drawing him like that. I regret to inform you that after Book of Bill revived the fandom, my attractions have switched. I don't know how a triangle can have so much charisma. After Seuss and the Real Girl aired, I then got a massive crush on Giffany. I feel like I'm in danger here. I drew her on any paper I could find and started drawing hearts on my cheeks. But I just looked her up and she just has the hearts in one scene. Now that's a Mandela effect. Continuing with Gravity Falls, I also had a crush on Mabel. She's the kind of girl I would have crushed on in school if she was real. And I had a crush on Dipper for a solid 30 minutes before I was like, nah. Admittedly, I probably also would have crushed on him in real life. I'm thinking of making a whole Gravity Falls video for next summer. Back to yandere's, we have Yuno Gasai. There's something to be said about how blinded I am by a pretty face. At least for fictional characters. Now I'm gonna talk about an obscure one. Back when I was 11, 12, my sister and I played through quite a few RPG horror games, and one of my favorites was Alice Mare, and the Cheshire Cat captured my heart. And before you start calling me a furry, he's not actually a cat, so this doesn't count. He's actually more like a demon who can possess people. This is just Bill again. Next up is Gaius from Fire Emblem. I played through Fire Emblem Awakening with my sister, around the same time we were playing RPG horror games, and when I recruited Gaius, I loved his introduction and got with him in-game. And he's not evil! He's just morally ambiguous! And the last crush for this segment is Nanase Kureha, who is an original character that I'd see all the time in Google Images. She's very pretty. I love cat girls. Next up are crushes I got after I started high school. While I played Link's Awakening as a child, I really appreciated Marin more as a teen. When I replayed Pokemon Ranger, I started crushing on Arya. All she had to do was be blonde and mean to me and I was hooked. She also cried in worry when I spent too much time underwater catching Kyogre. Back to men, I listened to the Heathers musical right before I started 9th grade, and I started crushing on JD. My streak of morally dubious crushes continues. And there's nothing more morally dubious than trying to blow up a school full of children. Actually, that's just straight up evil. Man, what is wrong with me? Speaking of evil, Junko from Touhou. She's a vengeful mother and one of the most ruthless characters in all of Touhou. She's a revenge MILF, what's not to like? My next crush is Calnaceae, or Calcium. You might be saying, hey wait, didn't you already talk about Miku? And to that I say, she's not really Miku. Calcium is actually a skeleton monster that likes to cosplay as Miku. She's most known from the song Bacterial Contamination by Connie Misopi, who also made Dancing Samurai. She's wonderful. I love Marie Rose from Dead or Alive, although I know next to nothing about Dead or Alive. This is completely from the internet and reading wikis. Fryce is my favorite Nekopara girl, though I've only played the first game and I could have done without the incest. I already talked about my favorite Fate characters in the last video, so this will be brief. I fell in love with Tosaka Rin almost immediately after I started reading the visual novel. So naturally I also love Ishtar, Ereshkigal, and all their variants. I didn't like Gilgamesh at all when I started getting into Fate, but I cracked eventually. That biker jacket just looks so good on him. His personality also gets improved in Extra and Grand Order. I started crushing on Ku because I liked his personality in Unlimited Blade Works, and I really liked Castor Ku when I started Grand Order. Edmond Dantes, also known as the Count of Monte Cristo, is the last man on this list. He's such a gentleman and full of vengeance, although I mostly started liking him because my sister also likes him. I also like Mordred, John Alter, Semiramis, Tamamo, Koyanskaya Light and Dark, Karen, Melt, Kama, and Durga. And I have a crush on Arcuid from Tsukihime. Akiya is also a favorite, though once again I could do without the incest plot. And that's all for my real crushes. As a kid, I believed that any favorite character was a crush. Perry the Platypus, Rigby, Azrael, Flowey, and Akemi Homura are all examples of favorite characters that I thought I had a crush on. Actually, Flowey was a real crush, but Azrael wasn't. And when I saw Beauty and the Beast, I saw all the girls swooning over Gaston and thought, oh, I guess I should act like I have a crush on him since everyone seems to like him. I got over this fairly quickly since I wanted to be Belle so badly. I wanted to be Wendy too, so everyone assumed I had a crush on Peter Pan, but no, I just had envy. Now to wrap this up, what have we learned? I like blonde girls, or any lighter colored hair. I seem to have a thing for evil characters, and I might be a monster kisser. And most of these were women. While I am bisexual, I'm more into women than men. NBs are in a sort of gray area, though that's an issue of sample size. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you might like my video about school crushes. See you later! Bye!